All right, Elliotte, you ready to have some fun?
Yes.
All right. If you said no, this segment was going to be a wrap. But it's a segment we like to call, and we're debuting it right now. Let's fake a deal. Oh, there it is. All right, I got my bedazzled microphone here, and I'm a poor man's version of Wayne Brady. So here's how it's going to work, Elliotte. We sent out a Twitter question to the fans earlier saying, let's fake a deal. Tweet a trade proposal for our resident insider, Elliotte Friedman, and see what grade yours gets on NHL Tonight. So we got plenty of them. I'm being told over 100 of these things came flying in. So we've chosen what we feel like are some of the better ones out there. Jace is number 1. Elliotte, 2 Toronto. Shane Gostisbehere, Wayne Simmonds, and a 4th. And in return, Philly gets William Nylander, Jake Gardiner, and a 2nd. What are you grading that one?
I grade that one an A- because I actually think that that is a reasonable trade. And I have said I do think that Philadelphia could be a stealth contender for a team, for a player like Nylander, because they have what Toronto wants. I'm sure Philly fans will have a heart attack at the idea of Gostisbehere getting traded. But I do think that aside from maybe Toronto wanting a higher pick, that is a trade that potentially makes sense to happen. Could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it's not outrageous like other suggestions tend to be.
Elliotte, I'm thinking maybe if you take that 4th out of there and just have Philly add a 2nd onto that, because Nylander, I think, should get a little more than a 4th with Simmonds being a UFA. If Philly gives the 2nd up with Simmonds and Gostisbehere for Gardiner and Nylander, I think that it might even get higher than an A-. If you make that change, that's my thoughts on it.
I agree with that, and that's the point I was making, that I think if you kind of fiddle with the draft picks a bit, don't forget Gardiner's a UFA, but Philly would question would they be able to sign him. But I do agree with you. If you fiddle with the draft picks a bit, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Where were you as my teachers growing up? We got an A- and then readers going even higher than that. You guys are like the substitute teachers that just threw in the VCR and let us watch that for 4 straight days. I like where this is headed. All right, question number 2, Elliotte. This one coming from Duchesne95. Fitting, right? To Winnipeg. Matt Duchesne. To Ottawa, Sami Niku, a 1st rounder in 2019 and a 2nd rounder in 2019. Grade that.
Well, I gave it an A+ to Ottawa because that's a great deal for a player who's an unrestricted free agent. You know, initially I was like D for Winnipeg because I think it's way too much for a team to give up for a rental. But you know what, Dave, I got to tell you, as I thought about it more, the one thing is, if Matt Duchesne is the piece that takes you over the top, you're giving up whatever it takes. So maybe my D was too harsh, but since Jameson said I was too easy, I'm going the other way right now.
Wow, all right, A+, and the peanut gallery is shaking their heads. So A+ is from the substitute teachers as well. A-, A+. I love this. I'm sticking this one on the fridge when I get home. Next Twitter question, Elliotte, coming from Hip to Jive. They're probably dancing out to this jam we got going on here on NHL Tonight. William Nylander for Miro Heiskanen. Straight up, what do you think?
I think it'll never happen. I don't think Dallas will make that trade. I don't think they'll trade the player. But for an idea of a trade, I give it a B. It's reasonable. It makes sense. But I don't give it the top grade because I don't think there's any chance Dallas does it.
Your grade is absolutely bang on, Elliotte, for me, because I don't think that Miro Heiskanen, who I watch play, who reminds me a lot of a little Scott Niedermayer, I don't think that Dallas will be full enough that Jim Neal will let go, especially on a team that needs defense, to let go a prospect of this caliber.
You said no way, but you're giving it a B?
I'm not giving it a B. I said I like the B. For me, it's a D. The Dallas Stars are not letting go of their D. So
we are all sorts of corny
possible
tonight. All right, your jokes fit my microphone right now. All right, let's move on. What do we got next? Next up from the tweet machine, we got Preston Caldwell. Elliotte wants to know this deal. To Vegas, Hedman. To Tampa, a 2020 third rounder and an amazing weekend VIP experience at the Aria. I'm down.
I gave it an F because it's terrible, but I loved it. So I wanted to include it because it made me laugh.
How about a D for just trying? Like, effort. I like that one.
I don't know, the amazing weekend area. I don't know, Elliotte. You might, you might want to reconsider that one in Vegas.
I'll tell you.
Second five-star hotel. And we might want to do that and give that an A+.
All right. Readers joining
me. For Hedman, I want more than one weekend.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Fair enough.
Well, you have to throw in a couple more first-rounders, I'm being told, for that. All right, we got another one coming in. Let's fake a deal, shall we? Canadian Duke, Edmonton, trading Draisaitl, Talbot, Larson, Puljujarvi to Montreal for Price, Weber, and Gallagher. My goodness, that one's loaded.
Well, it's creative. I agree with that, but I gave it a C- because I just don't see Edmonton doing that with Draisaitl. Especially, maybe a week ago we all might feel differently about this, but Draisaitl just exploded carrying his own line in a week where they took 7 out of 8 points against Pittsburgh, Chicago, Washington, and Nashville. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not going to be going on.
Not happening. C- though. That's like average, so I like that. No comments from those readers halfway to the aria at this point. All right, one more. Our last one coming in from Twitter. Poppy Fred 2019. William Nylander to Montreal for Shea Weber. The Leafs will become a huge threat to win the Cup. So throwing his 2 cents in there as well. What do you think, Elliotte?
I think our tweeter here did a good job of concealing he was a Canadiens fan by saying the Leafs would become a better contender for the Cup. That's his way of trying to say why it would make sense for Toronto. I'm giving it an F because I don't think Toronto would consider that. The age difference is just too large, and if they deal Nylander, it's not going to be while Weber is a hell of a player, it's not going to be for a player at his age level.
I agree with you, although this really does fit what the Leafs need with a Shea Weber on the back end. Desperately need a defenseman, but I think you're giving up a little too much on that one. And is Nylander the guy they're going to trade anyhow? A lot of trades going on for Nylander.
Yeah, well, hey, they want to know.
Yeah.
We got a month to go.
Look at the chuckling by Elliotte. That might be a bigger question that we could discuss later. But no, I'd love to see Weber in Leaf uniform. I think that's what the Leafs need, but not Nylander.
F?
Yeah.
All right.
I agree, yeah.
An F. You guys were harsh there towards the end. Elliotte Friedman, thanks for being the first ever and maybe the only contestant on Let's Fake a Deal, NHL Tonight. And we're going to send you a copy of this audio tune for all your hard work tonight. Thank you, Elliotte.
Well, you know what? Other game show contestants get rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat, so I will take the game show theme happily instead of that.
Yeah, I'm being told you have to pay taxes on the super prize as well. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk to you down the road.